We have a great interview right off the top for you with West Michigan Works, of course, Agribusiness Talent Council lead Carol Distel joining us live in studio this morning. So you guys are a nonprofit that kind of helps employers and employees connect with one another.
Correct.
And right now there's a huge emphasis on the agribusiness side of things. Why is that?
Well, right now, there's a lack of people who are going into this industry. And I think there's a lot of people, of course, in this industry right now. We don't have many people in the job, as many people in the job market as there used to be, because we don't have as many people who were born.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a fight between industries and people to get people interested. With regards to agribusiness, a lot of people don't know the breadth of all the jobs that are out there. So most people think, of agribusiness as just farming and being on the land, but they don't think about all the jobs of, getting that item or food to the table and all the jobs that happen in between there. So what we're here is to explain and sort of promote the industry and what jobs that are there. So for people, and especially for the youth.
Yeah.
They really, you don't know what you don't know until you hear it. And so a lot of the programs that we work on is really getting the students to understand from a K through 12 of what the opportunities are, and in making them aware to say, hey, this is out there.
Yeah, I don't think it's emphasized enough, and it's kind of cliche to say that, some of our agribusiness workers are the backbones of our society, right? I mean, they do so many things that we don't realize that they're involved in there. Yeah.
Can you explain some of those little in-between jobs that maybe kind of get forgotten about or don't know?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it, a lot of people don't think about the transportation, logistics, supply chain that goes in.
Yeah.
I mean, from anything, either driving, like I said, from a dairy farm and picking up the milk and going into the processing center. But there's some things that I love to tell kids, and there's new jobs that are out there that use technology, and one of them, I think that's the hottest thing, is a drone pilot.
Yes.
And so these drone pilots are out there certified, and they're either helping to survey the crops, or sometimes out west it's surveying cattle and seeing what everything's going on. But those are things that people don't think about, yet I think they're interesting to students as well. A lot goes into food technology and understanding food safety.
Yeah.
So if there's people who are into science, or even I did a lesson the other day about food technology and actually creating new foods.
Oh, wow.
And so that was kind of fun to these young second grade students,
Yes.
that they were just like, oh, I never knew that was there. So
I think it's pretty cool. You are instilling some of these lessons early on in our youth. Maybe this is something, this kid grows up and wants to be a part of this industry.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on the farming side of things, but to your point, maybe they want to be a drone pilot, or
Right.
maybe they want to operate some of the technology that's involved in some of these things. So can you talk more about that? Because I think this all goes hand in hand. What lessons specifically are you making sure children of today know when they go to grow up and they want to maybe get into this industry? What sort of things are you talking to them about?
One of the things, we do have a program that we start off through K through 5th grade. And so it is a chance for industry professionals to go into the classroom. They read an agricultural story to the kids, and then they talk about their career. So we're doing 2 books this year, one on a dairy farm, or learning how to make ice cream in a dairy farm, and one about trees. So we're bringing in people in that industry, of a Christmas tree farmer who's going to be reading the story to students and doing activities with them and telling them about their job and how they got involved in it. Same with the dairy one. We have people who are food processors who will say, well, yeah, once that milk gets from the cow, this is what we do, and this is how we process.
Yeah.
And here are all the jobs. And sometimes people don't realize, even maybe they don't work hands-on, but like me, I'm connecting people to those jobs.
Yes.
There's human resources, there's always marketing jobs that are in those areas. There are finance jobs, there are jobs also, I think, in politics to also, to work with your state government on different issues that are going on. So really, wherever your interest is, we're trying to say, there's an opportunity for you in these areas. And going into the classroom and having kids understand and hear the stories and hear what people are doing, it kind of opens their mind to these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can sometimes really champion these niche markets as well, right? I mean, you can get really great careers out of this. We're looking at some of the imagery. I mean, I would love to be surrounded by vegetation and things like this. People who love nature, I mean, come on, it's so nice. Okay, how did you get involved in this?
You know, kind of funny. I'm sort of the perfect story of somebody who grew up on a farm.
Okay.
And did not want to go in agriculture. In fact, my family would tease me because I couldn't grow anything. So I was like, yeah, this is not me. I really want to work with people. And I found my way into this years later. But I had, all of a sudden, this job opportunity came up, and I went, this actually, you know, marries my younger days of growing up on a farm, excuse me, understanding sort of some of the dynamics that go on, and then getting students involved and saying, you don't necessarily have to be on the tractor or growing it. There's other opportunities that are there.
Which is, I mean, we've been hitting that hammer right on the head. I mean, or that nail right on the head. You know, there are so many different opportunities. And part of this month of March is to kind of educate those people about those opportunities. And there are also some events that I'm aware of that are set up for this specific reason. So can you talk about the Agribusiness Talent Council and what they're kind of doing to kind of educate people about the different careers?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the council was formed really, it's a group of growers, food processors, and people in the industry, as well as economic development partners. And we're looking at the jobs of today and the jobs tomorrow. Do we have enough people for these jobs? And, you know, for today, do we need to train them? And what about tomorrow? So when we look at this, we're like, what can we do to make students aware? So as I mentioned, we have the reading program that goes on throughout March. I think we're going to be hitting about 1,200 students through different schools in our region. The other event that we have is really fun, and I think it's been advertised here on WZZM, but it's called My Career Quest.
Okay.
And it is held on March 20th at DeVos Place this year, where we have about 8,000 students who come into DeVos Place and do hands-on activities with agribusinesses, as well as construction, healthcare, IT, hospitality, and manufacturing. And so these students come in and they may not know what they want to do, or as we tease, we'll say, oh, they all want to be, you know, YouTubers or, you know, influencers and those types of things. So, you know, if that plan doesn't work out, what can you do? And so students are really surprised to see what's out there, and they get involved. So like I said, we'll have people from Spartan Nash and Walter's Gardens and Herbrooks, and they all are doing something. So we have Spartan Nash doing sort of warehouse races of how fast can you put together a pallet and, you know, get it into the truck. So talking about warehousing, logistics. We have Walter's Gardens who are transplanting plants, and that's what they do every day. And so they're doing those activities, and this is something that I can see myself doing.
Yeah.
So it's actually fun to see the students go and go, no, I'm not interested, and then they see something and go, I didn't even know this was out there.
Absolutely, and I think adults have those moments too.
We do too.
Yeah, kids get into college, and it's like young adults get into college, and you can change your whole career just because you find out something new. What are some of the areas that you're seeing holes that you need more people in? I think, you know, all areas of agribusiness as well as in the industry. Like I said, we don't have enough people at this point. So each of the areas, but I think some of it is that entry-level area that people are looking into in that food processing, where they think they're in there and then maybe that's the only area that they can go into. And yet we see there's a lot of career progression in the industry as well as great salaries. So I think that part is sort of, you are still trying to find more people to get into those entry-level positions. Okay.
And what are you guys doing to kind of help connect some of those employers with those maybe entry-level prospective job candidates?
Yeah, so we do monthly job fairs that are going on. They used to be all virtual, now there's some in person, as well as our council will do specific job fairs. In fact, we just finished 2 of them in February. So those are the things that we put together, connecting people. We have our hot jobs list as well, so people can always look at the hot jobs list for any industry, for all the counties that we work on, and see what jobs that are there.
So what are some of the things that employees are looking for in these potential candidates?
You know,
the kids. I mean, you know, what kind of traits should they have as they grow up or earn?
You know, it's funny because we think, okay, maybe they have to be experts in everything, and honestly, it's really the soft skills that people are looking at, you know. Do you have the communication skills? Are you willing to work as a team, you know, and share that in understanding, learning? You know, those are the big key takeaways, and just having an interest in understanding, learning these jobs. So it really isn't anything earth-shattering or something that you have to take, you know, millions of years to study in school. It really is the soft skills.
And those really are things that, you know, you can learn at such a young age.
Absolutely.
Practicing sharing, you know, practicing being a team leader, helping out in the group project, all that
Do you
stuff.
remember those group projects
Absolutely.
that you know you
Group
had to
projects.
do in
Yes,
school?
absolutely.
So
Well, little do you know the communication skills that you are learning at that time of your life, right? I
That
think that's
is
pretty
true.
cool. Let's talk about just the job market as a whole. I know we're focusing a lot on agribusiness, but you work for West Michigan Works, so I'm curious to know if there are any other areas that you guys are seeing shortages in workers, and if so, you know, what can be done to help that out?
yeah, so I think there's the area, I mean, healthcare, the entry-level people who are going through manufacturing is very similar to the food processing area, some of those entry-level positions that are there. Maintenance tech positions too, people who have the understanding to know how to fix machines. I think that's a skill that has been lost. You know, sometimes grandpa would take you up on the roof and help you fix, you know, shingles or
Right.
whatever. And a lot of students, you know, what's a tape measure? How do you use a tape measure? You know, some of those things that, you know, we grew up with are not, you know, some of the things that our students are learning.
Sure.
So those are the things I think that, like I said, not only, I should say the soft skills, but some of those simple things that we learned because somebody taught us is not happening now.
Okay, very interesting. Well, we have to leave the conversation there, but thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you,
and
appreciate
telling
it.
us what's going on in the month of March. Of course, I know you guys have things in April and May and things like that, so I'm sure we'll be seeing you again.
I'll come back and we can talk more about those things.
Perfect. Well, that sounds good. Carol, thank you so much for your time
Thank
this
you.
morning.